Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. San Junipero. San is the fourth episode of the third series of British science fiction anthology series Black Mirror. Written by series creator and showrunner Charlie Brooker and directed by Owen Harris. It premiered on Netflix on the 21st of October 2016 together with the rest of Series 3. The episode has a substantially happier tone than other Black Mirror episodes, and is one of the show's most successful episodes. The episode is set in 1987 in a beach resort town named San Junipero, where Yorkie, a shy woman visiting the town, meets and has sex with the more outgoing Kelly. The town is revealed to be a simulated reality in which the elderly and deceased can live, and Yorkie is a quadriplegic woman who wishes to be euthanized so she can inhabit it permanently. Kelly marries Yorkie so she can legally authorize this, but is reluctant to join her due to Kelly's husband and daughter having died without joining San Junipero. However, she later decides she is ready to join and is uploaded to San Junipero so she can be with Yorkie. San Junipero was the first episode written for the third series of Black Mirror. Charlie Brooker was inspired to write an episode to upend viewers' preconceptions of the show. Initial drafts were based on nostalgia therapy and designed as a period piece. They featured a heterosexual couple and an unhappy ending. The soundtrack contains many songs from the 1980s, and the sets were carefully designed to evoke the era. The episode was filmed in Cape Town, South Africa over a few weeks. The episode has received critical acclaim, winning 2 Primetime Emmy Awards for the series, as well as numerous other awards and nominations. Many critical reviews described the episode as the best of Series 3. Mabe Raw and Davis's performances were almost universally well received. The episode's storyline was widely praised for its display of a beautiful love story. Some reviewers noted that the other Black Mirror episode, directed by Owen Harris, Be Right Back, is a similarly soft episode, while others described the episode as the most hopeful and ambitious the show has produced. In critical lists of Black Mirror episodes by quality, San Junipero is often in the top 3. However, a minority of reviewers have criticized the episode as unoriginal. Plot. In 1987, a shy and sheltered woman named Yorkie visits San Junipero, a beach resort town. Kelly, a vivacious party girl, strikes up a conversation with Yorkie at a nightclub in order to ditch Wes, a man she had sex with previously. Kelly invites Yorkie to dance, but Yorkie, self-conscious and embarrassed, flees from the bar. Kelly follows and flirts with Yorkie before offering to have sex with her. Yorkie declines, saying she is engaged to a man named Greg. The following week, Yorkie returns to the bar and observes Kelly flirting with a different man. Yorkie and Kelly reunite in the bathroom before returning to Kelly's beach house to have sex. Yorkie admits it is the first time she has had sex with anyone. Kelly reveals she is bisexual and that she was once married to a man. The next week, Yorkie returns looking for Kelly. She spots Wes, who advises her to try a different time. Yorkie visits the 1990s and then finds Kelly in the 2000s, but Kelly rebuffs her advances. After Yorkie leaves the bar, Kelly follows and confesses that she is dying, and that she avoided Yorkie because she feared making a genuine connection with anyone in San Junipero. The two engage in sexual activity again. Kelly tells Yorkie she wants to meet her in real life. Yorkie is hesitant at first, but at Kelly's urging, tells Kelly her location. It is revealed that San Junipero is a simulated reality in which the elderly are permitted to visit for up to 5 hours per week, and the deceased can live in permanently. In this reality, they have the body of a younger version of themselves and cannot die or feel pain unless they choose to. Back in the physical world, an elderly Kelly visits Yorkie. Yorkie, surviving via life support, was paralyzed 40 years prior after running her car off the road. Despondent after being rejected by her parents when she came out to them as gay, Yorkie wishes to be euthanized so that she can live in San Junipero full-time. But as her family has religious objections to her being removed from life support, she intends to marry her nurse Greg so he can sign off on her euthanization. Kelly offers to marry Yorkie instead. Yorkie enthusiastically accepts, and Kelly subsequently authorizes Yorkie's euthanasia. Yorkie asks Kelly to join her full-time. Though Kelly does not believe in heaven, she plans to die without being uploaded to San Junipero. Her husband of 49 years, Richard, chose to die in the same way because their daughter Allison died at age 39 before San Junipero existed. Yorkie and Kelly argue and Kelly leaves in her Jeep, which she crashes on purpose. Yorkie runs after her and catches up to her, and at that very moment, Kelly's virtual body disappears, her time having ended for the week in San Junipero. Time passes, and the real Kelly's health continues to worsen. She elects to become euthanized, and her body is buried alongside her husband and daughter. Meanwhile, her consciousness is uploaded to San Junipero, where she happily reunites with Yorkie. Production. San Junipero is the fourth episode of the third series. All 6 episodes in this series were released on Netflix simultaneously on the 21st of October 2016. While Series 1 and 2 of Black Mirror were shown on Channel 4 in the UK. Netflix commissioned the series for 12 episodes in September 2015, and in March 2016 it outbid Channel 4 for the rights to distributing the third series, with a bid of $40 million. Due to its move to Netflix, the show had a larger budget than in previous series and a larger episode order, which allowed the show to vary its genre and tone more than previous series. Alongside Nosedive, San Junipero was first shown in 2016 ahead of its Netflix release at the Toronto International Film Festival. San Junipero was the first episode written for Series 3, authored by Charlie Brooker. It was part of a conscious attempt to blow up what the show was. The concept of the episode originated in an idea about technology being used to determine whether an afterlife exists. However, Brooker later became inspired by nostalgia therapy for older people. Brooker had kept saying he wanted to do an episode that's set in the past and wrote San Junipero as a period episode. Director Owen Harris described the 1980s as a period in life that was really optimistic. In the initial draft, the love story was between a heterosexual couple, but Brooker changed it because he thought this gave the episode an extra resonance, as same-sex marriage was not legal in 1987. Brooker told the Daily Beast that in the rough treatment, the episode ended at the scene where Kelly and Yorkie meet in the hospital, but when I sat down to actually write it, I was enjoying it so much that I thought, no, I'm going to keep going. He claims to have written the script for the episode in 4 days. One draft of the episode contained a scene where Kelly visits a kindergarten in San Junipero, full of children who had died, but it was removed because it was too sad and too poignant of a note to hit in that story, though Brooker notes that he kept thinking about how the scene felt like a whole world in and of itself. The episode was set in California as another way to upend people's preconceptions of Black Mirror. One reviewer noted that San Junipero contained only American characters. The episode's director was Owen Harris, who previously directed the Series 2 episode Be Right Back, an episode which he described as strangely similar to this one, as both a relationship-led Brooker was involved in the choice of arcade games for the set. He was a teenager during the 1980s and has worked as a video game journalist, so he has an interest in the topic. He chose the year 1987 fairly arbitrarily and mentioned very specific movie posters in the script. Brooker put together a playlist of music from 1987 on Spotify. The song, "Heaven is a Place on Earth" by Belinda Carlisle was on the playlist. He first heard it while running and knew the song would be perfect for the final scene, admitting in an interview he would have been absolutely distraught if they were unable to use it. Each song had to be cleared for roughly 15 years for Netflix. Every song in the playlist was cleared other than a track by Prince, "Girlfriend in a Coma" by the Smiths, features in the episode for about 5 seconds, yet according to Brooker it cost an outrageous amount of money. It was like shoveling banknotes into a fire. Executive producer Annabelle Jones notes that it was indulgent, but at the same time, it was so important that we set up that era so it felt different. The song "C'est la Vie" by Robbie Neville was chosen by Harris. It was one of the first singles that he ever bought. Gugu Mbatha-Raw, who plays Kelly, had heard of the show but not seen any episodes. When she received the script from her agent, though, she did watch Be Right Back before the shoot. Mbatha-Raw read the entirety of the script as soon as she received it on a bus journey from Oxford Circus to Brixton. According to Mbatha-Raw, the episode was shot in a 3-week period, with a week shooting in London and another week in Cape Town, South Africa. She described the shoot as very rapid, saying they didn't really have much time to rehearse and that there was no read-through. Harris says that Cape Town has these really rich, beautiful settings. Suddenly you could create a version of California that felt slightly heightened because of this slightly strange quality. Mbatha-Raw states that almost every scene was shot at night or dusk, particularly the exterior scenes. Harris claims that, during the shooting of the argument on the beach between Kelly and Yorkie in their wedding dresses, this incredible mist rolled in from the ocean and it turned into this really beautiful scene, which caused some challenges, but it gave us some really lovely texture. Mbatha-Raw recalls an ostrich walking onto the beach during one filming session. Ending and future. The episode was originally intended to have an unhappy ending. Brooker told the Daily Beast that in the rough treatment the episode ended at the scene where Kelly and Yorkie meet in the hospital, but when I sat down to actually write it, I was enjoying it so much that I thought, no, I'm going to keep going. He had an idea for the ending where you saw them in loads of different eras, such as the 1920s. In response to a Reddit post speculating that Kelly is simulated for Yorkie's benefit rather than really there, Brooker replied, "Wrong. They are together," and comments that they have the happiest ending imaginable. It's not a big rainbow sandwich, but what appears to be happening there is happening there. Brooker has repeatedly stated that there are no plans for a sequel episode to San Junipero. He told the Los Angeles Times that "we want to keep Kelly and Yorkie happy there." However, Brooker has said that the show may be referring to San Junipero again in Easter eggs, which the show has used before. Marketing. The Netflix spoof Orange is the New Black Mirror is a crossover between this episode and Orange is the New Black, featuring characters Poussey and Tasty, from the latter reunited in San Junipero. Critical reception. San Junipero is considered by many reviewers to be the best Black Mirror episode of the season. Irish independent reviewer Pat Stacey gave the episode 5 out of 5 stars, calling it the best of the first 4 episodes in the 3rd series. Stacey opined that the episode has ingenious twists, is essentially a tender love story that transcends time and consciousness, and was a astonishingly well realized, beautifully acted by Gugu Mbatha-Raw and Mackenzie Davis, and ultimately extremely moving. Writing for the New York Times, James Poniewozik said the episode was the best of the third season and also the biggest departure, as it is set in the past and has a bittersweet and moving, even hopeful tone. David Sims of The Atlantic notes that this season's darkest hour is followed by its most optimistic, referring to the dark tone of Shut Up and Dance, and says that this episode was easily his favorite of Black Mirror's third season. Sims praised that Davis and Mbatha-Raw have such instant lived-in chemistry and convey a whole lifetime of angst and desires in just a few interactions. Adam Chitwood, reviewing the episode for Collider, described it as the best episode of the season. Chitwood says that the episode begins promisingly enough, but fairly early on I began to feel like I had figured out the classic Black Mirror twist. I was wrong. The twist is not the point, and Davis and Mbatha-Raw deliver a pair of terrific performances here that build to a surprisingly emotional climax. Matt Fowler of IGN also opined that San Junipero is the best episode of the season, calling it marvelous, commending Mbatha-Raw and Davis for an outstanding job, and summarizing that ultimately it's a love story that literally transcends consciousness. Mbatha-Raw and Davis's performances were almost universally lauded. Alex Mullen gave a positive review in Digital Spy, noting that this is a sweet and touching tale that shows that Charlie Brooker and the format at large are capable of telling stories that don't necessarily rely on bleak and shocking scenarios, saying that the episode's revelations are not depicted as twists, and praising the episode's fantastic performances from Mbatha-Raw and Davis and wonderfully tender score by Clint Mansell. Benjamin Lee of The Guardian noted that the episode went to surprising and ultimately poignant places, and said that Mbatha-Raw and Davis impressed with their emotional range. Lee gave the episode a long, with nosedive 4 out of 5 stars. Caitlin Welsh of Junkie believes that the episode is the best of the season and hinges on 2 understated, pitch-perfect performances. Mackenzie Davis and Gugu Mbatha-Raw make their characters' connection feel completely real. However, Robbie Collin of The Daily Telegraph gave the episode 3 out of 5 stars, criticizing that the central conceit has already been extensively explored in science fiction and Yorkie and Kelly rarely ring true, but praising that Mbatha-Raw brings enough vivacity and conviction for the proudly tear-jerking ending to land. Zach Handelin of the AV Club gives San Junipero an A rating, writing, "The hour is structured beautifully. Part of the genius of the entry is that it holds information back just long enough to make sure we care about its 2 leads, but no longer." Handelin notes that the episode is the only Black Mirror episode with such a positive tone, saying, "A small part of what makes San Junipero so effective is all those hours leading up to it." Handelin summarizes, "This is one of the best hours of television I've seen this year." Georgia Welch of The Mancunian states that Brooker and Harris have created something truly multifaceted, offering 2 richly developed characters, and comments that the subtle 80s synth score aids the strange and beguiling atmosphere of the location wonderfully, which combined with a soft pastel color palette only adds to the magnetic, dreamlike allure of this alternate reality. Tim Goodman, writing for The Hollywood Reporter, praised the emotional hook that will leave only the hardest heart not shedding tears. Such Andrika Chakrabarti of Daily Mirror gave the episode 3 out of 5 stars in a review which called the episode a major change of pace. Many critics have published rankings of the 13 episodes in Black Mirror's first 3 series, in which this episode is often among the top 3. In Jacob Hall's list for film, San Junipero appears first, described as A remarkable love story between two women, told in a way that only Black Mirror could accomplish, and praised for being the show's finest hour and proof that the series is more than misery and darkness. The Wrap's ranking also features the episode in first place, as it is visually stunning, joyous to watch for anyone with any sense of 80s nostalgia, and makes you grateful for life and love. Additionally, Christian Bone of WhatCulture places the episode first, opining that it is one of the most beautiful and affirming episodes of television in a while, and a big reason for that is its willingness to try something new. Adam David of CNN Philippines rates the episode second best, saying that it made him cry. David writes that it plays all its happy, sad, sci-fi and romantic notes well, and notes that this is the first Black Mirror episode that features a gay relationship. James Hibbert of Entertainment Weekly ranks the episode third, writing, "Seldom has an episode of TV been more elevated by its final moments. The ending of San Junipero marries humanity, technology and nostalgia." Matt Elfring of GameSpot also places the episode third, as it is the only episode in the series that has warmth to it, and it's easily the best episode from Season 3. Corey Atad also rates the episode third best in Esquire due to the fact that it's a beautiful story that will make you cry, anchored by excellent performances from Gugu Mbatha-Raw and Mackenzie Davis. However, other reviewers place this episode lower on the rankings. San Junipero appears fourth in Morgan Jefferies' list for Digital Spy because, working both as a nostalgic blast of 80s music and styling, and as an effective, twisty-turny love story, it's perhaps the most upbeat and positive episode yet. Charles Bramesco of Vulture places the episode fifth, summarizing that this elliptical romance is the rare installment that warms the heart instead of injecting it with poison, and calling its resolution ingenious. Aubrey Page of Collider puts the episode seventh, as works largely due to its perfectly cast pair of leads, but the episode is hurt by its surprising lack of originality. Ninth in Andrew Wallenstein's list for Variety, San Junipero is described as perhaps the most satisfyingly daring tonal shift for the series. Mbatha-Raw and Davis's characters' relationships are said to not pack the emotional punch that this crowd-pleaser needs to truly shine. Other reviewers ranked the 6 episodes in the third series from best to worst. In For Best list, authored by Paul Tassi, San Junipero is placed first. Tassi comments that the storyline is compelling on a human level, and that Mbatha-Raw and Davis's performances are the best in the season. The Independent's ranking places the episode fifth, with Jacob Stolworthy reviewing that it is the most ambitious episode, but sadly the overloaded third act creaks at the seams. Stolworthy suggests that perhaps this was the episode to give the extra 30 minutes, and not hated in the nation. Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Would you like to know more?